This episode has been brought to you by me and my business, Lauren Grace Inspirations. I am a channel of the light and work with spirit guides, angels, the higher self, and passed over loved ones to provide you with support, clarity, and encouragement. Using oracle cards, mediumship, and clairvoyance, my readings will leave you feeling comforted and empowered. I have various reading options available, ranging from 30-minute readings to 60-minute readings to group sessions. I also work with professionals to help them gain clarity in business and life purpose. To book a reading with me, simply head to laurengraceinspirations.com. Hello and welcome to the show. Lauren Grace here. I am a medium and a seer. I'm also a business and life mentor. And thank you so much for being here today. So today I'm going to be doing some readings for you, sort of see what spirit has to say. I am a medium and also a seer. So that means that I speak to souls who have passed. I'm also able to do clairvoyance. And I also do past lives and work with spirit guides. But essentially what I've been finding I do a lot of as well is channeling. So channeling is essentially when I connect with your energy and then I sort of allow spirit to work through me, and spirit just gives me all the messages. So that's a lot of what tends to happen. So I really like to start these sessions by taking a couple of breaths in and out. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, and really connecting with our hearts. So no matter where you are, I'd like you to take a moment if you're not driving, if you're not operating heavy machinery, and if it feels comfortable for you, just settle in where you are. Close your eyes. For some of us, we've had a really big day. For some of us, we're just getting going. And if you feel comfortable, put your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your left hand. And we're just going to take 3 cleansing breaths in through the nose, but also focused on the heart space, and then out through the mouth with slightly parted lips. So let's go ahead and breathe in and out and in and out and in and out. Perfect. So at the beginning of all of my lives, I always like to take a moment to sort of maybe discuss a subject that spirit want me to elaborate on, or, maybe look at some of the themes that have been happening with people that I've been working with over the course of the week and since the last time that we spent time together and talked. And one of the big messages that's really coming through today is a lot about understanding that, number one, what is meant for us will not pass us by. But number 2, that life really is working for us, not against us. And I know that sometimes that can feel really difficult, and that can feel really maybe like a foreign concept, especially when we're going through difficult times. But one of the things that's important to remember is that your spirit team are always here supporting you, and they have your back, and they can't intervene without our help, or without our permission rather. So without us saying to them, hey, can you please assist me? Can you help me with this situation? And inviting them in, because we have free will. And this is always really, really important to remember, that whenever I'm doing any readings, whenever anyone's doing any readings, to always run everything through your own filter, because you're the authority on your life, right? And the journey ahead is yours to shape. So when we give permission and extend the offer for our spirit guides, our angels, and our team to really come in and support us, what it allows them to do is it allows them to set up opportunities for maybe a book to all of a sudden land on our lap. I mean, not exactly, but maybe we go to a cafe and there's a book on a table and we happen to see it and go, oh, I've heard of that book. Maybe we pick it up and read it and it's life-changing. Maybe we listen to a song that's got a profound message of something that we're looking to. Maybe somebody recommends a program or a podcast or a book or something for you to read that really gives you insight into a situation that you're going through. So when we can invite our team in to support us along the journey, what we are essentially saying is, hey, I'm open to maybe a new way of looking at this. I'm open to an opportunity here that maybe I can't see very clearly. And I get that. One of the things too that our guides wants us to remember is that when things are in our path, that it's basically like, it's kind of a culmination of all of the things we've been thinking about and that we've been really playing to that have brought us to this moment. So if we find ourselves in situations that we're not happy in, or situations where we're really happy, we have a choice, right? We can keep doing more of the same, or we can look at our situation and go, what can I do differently to maybe get a different outcome later? Now, one of the things that I really love about Esther Hicks and the Abraham teachings is how they talk a lot about segments. They essentially talk about how our lives are really built almost into chapters, like you and I hanging out right now, and then I'm going to go do my thing and you're going to go do your thing. And so this is essentially like a segment or a chapter that we're having here. And one of the things that's really cool is that we actually get an opportunity to start again at any time. I remember when I used to watch Vanilla Sky almost on repeat back in 2000, whatever year it came out. And there's this quote in it, and it says, every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around. And I just love that message. I love the message because it puts us in the position of remembering our power, of remembering that we could choose peace instead of this. And so the message for you here today is really a lot about having a look at your life and remembering how powerful you are and how courageous and brave you are for being here, and that you have an opportunity to turn things around. And sometimes when we look at that, we're like, well, how do I even get started? Well, this is what you do. You do whatever you can to feel a little bit better in this moment. And that might be going outside. It might be listening to a book, like an audiobook that's inspiring for you, or listening to a song. It might be washing your hands with cold water to reset your energy. It may be going and walking around in nature, or even having a nap. So when you remember that you are powerful beyond your wildest dreams, and that when you remember that if you choose to, that if you focus on doing something that's going to make you feel a little bit better in this moment, what you start to do is raise your vibration, and essentially you start yourself off on a new path, on a new segment, bringing you a different truth or a different reality. So yeah, I'd love to know whether or not that's resonating with you. I'll head over and check out the comments. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And please, just a friendly reminder that if you haven't already, please do remember to follow me over on Instagram, also on Facebook, YouTube, and also please do subscribe to the Afterlight podcast. I've got it there. It says the Afterlight podcast, all one word. And it's just like a really, well, it's a labor of love, that's for damn sure. But, I interview so many interesting guests. Coming up on Thursday, for example, I'm going to be interviewing a woman named Heather, and we're talking about hypnotherapy and creating the life that we want. There's a lot of business focus within that as well. So if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, this may really resonate with you in particular. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a couple of readings. If you would like a reading, please do let me know. And if you are new, please let me know. And also let me know if you've gone ahead and followed my pages. That's always going to be a bonus too for me. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Lisa Tier from Greece. I'm just going to go ahead and connect with your energy. I'm just looking, listening, and feeling for a moment. If you want to let me know if you are here, that would be great. I'm just feeling in for a second, looking, listening, and feeling. I do feel like I have a couple here that are connected to you. I would want to put them at like a grandfather and a grandmother level. When I'm physically looking, or when I'm looking at them physically, they present to me as very small, sort of tiny people, probably around like maybe 5'4", 5'6", that kind of height. And they're sort of, what's the word of saying? They're comfy looking. Like they look like they would just give the absolute best hugs. The woman for me, she's got her hair up in a bun. She's very quiet. She looks to me like she would be wearing like a shawl or something like really quite warm. I feel like I really want to talk with them like about having a home that was really warm, like temperature wise, but also that you would feel really welcomed in. I'm also feeling a lot of emotion when I'm connecting with their energy, like a lot of love. I feel like there was a lot of home cooking in this home. I feel like there was also, it's like they're showing me a living room scene, and then they're showing me chairs being set up around the living room. And then it's almost like clapping, like some kind of a celebration. And I almost feel like someone's dancing in the middle. So that's a really interesting thing. I kind of want to talk about like live music in the corner as well, like almost like an accordion. So they're showing me that scene. Just seeing if I can pick up anything else and then see what else I get for you. I'm feeling really emotional. Like I really want to cry. Like I really miss them. So there's this really strong connection there in terms of like, just like the love that I'm feeling. I'm also feeling really in my throat, like my throat is sore. So when I'm feeling my throat is sore, it could be that I feel like I'm really connecting with the female energy here. So the woman in spirit. Can I just get you to stand behind Lisa for a second? I'm just seeing, I want to put her at like the mother side of the family. So connected to the mother side of the family. So I would want to put her at like a grandmother, great grandmother, but it's interesting because it almost could be great aunt as well. Like I feel like she's sort of veering a little bit to the right there in terms of positioning. So just let me know if this resonates with you. I'm also feeling like I really need to have a drink of water. So sometimes what happens is maybe around the time of passing, there might have been something going on with the communication, like maybe not able to communicate, maybe like some dehydration that may have been happening there as well, which would maybe affect her ability to be able to speak. I'm just going to have a drink of water that'll clear that. I'm just going to see, Lisa, if you have connected. Okay, so you are here. Thank you. So just let me know if these people could be your husband's mom. Okay. Because we're just doing power readings today, I don't have, well, we'll just sort of see what comes up. They're really playing this scene in the living room. So it's like this scene in the living room of a celebration, chairs all around, people dancing and having fun. This also feels to me like it's older, like maybe in the, I don't know, 40s or 50s. It's like an older generation. And it's all, yeah, it's almost like before we had the technology, like I want to talk with my hand before the technology. You know, this is what they did to almost pass the time. One of the things that I find that spirit does a lot is like they like to focus on happy memories and things that will really trigger someone to remember something. So, you know, this may be something that you go away and think of. I do want to say that it's like connected to the mother's side of the family. So if it's your husband's mom, could be, but I don't really know at the moment if that's sitting. So we'll just see if anything else comes up as well. I also want to talk about a black cat. So I feel like there's like a cat connected to this woman, and maybe like a little bit of a white strip as well with the cat. We'll just see if anything else comes through. I'm going to pull a couple of cards for you as well, so I can also read. Could be your husband's grandmother. Yeah, could be. That I'm feeling like it's older than mother, like it's an older generation. So that might make sense. We'll just sort of see. Can you also let me know too if the cat makes sense? Because I do feel like there's a cat here as well. Okay, I'm going to pull a couple cards for you as well. Actually, just before that, they're telling me to feel it a little bit more. I'm just going to look, listen, and feel for a second, a little bit more. I really feel a little bit nauseous when I'm connecting with your energy. So I don't know if you have something going on, maybe with your digestion, whether or not you're not feeling like maybe 100%. Sometimes when we eat certain foods, right, we're just not like operating at the same level. I feel like a little bit of nausea when I'm connecting. So maybe just have a look at whether or not you're eating foods that aren't really supportive. Sometimes we develop allergies or intolerances to things and we're not always aware because we've always eaten them. So maybe just kind of notice, I get that they're talking about like when you notice when you're eating certain things, just notice whether or not you maybe get a little itchy, maybe tingling on the tongue, maybe you feel a little bit sort of sick. It may be your body giving you clues that certain foods aren't for you. I'm not a doctor either. Okay, so you said your digestion system is playing up and was thinking of going for tests. Yeah, so if that's something that you feel called to, I don't think it would hurt to do that. just for peace of mind, really. I have heard a lot of stuff as well, talking about how like a day fast and things like that can really help reset our digestion. I was listening to a lot of Stuart Wild's work, WILDE, and he was talking about the importance of fasting. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert at this at all. So there's a lot of people that can help with that. I also, find that as we get older, sometimes just certain foods just don't sit well with us anymore. And there's nothing more than that. It's just that, it's just not for us. So sometimes it's fun also to find different alternatives. Okay, let's pull a couple of cards for you now. And we'll see what else comes up. One of the things that they're talking about as well is like, I'm actually going to the respiratory area here. So I'm like, my lungs, the respiratory area, I'm going into the lung space. So I'm kind of feeling like it's a little bit heavy to breathe. So I don't know if it's dusty where you are, but may also be a good idea to just do a little bit of a refresher of the home. Maybe open up all the windows, clear things out. I think that might help as well. Could be like some dust that sort of goes like is affecting your breathing as well. I think that might be helpful for you too to have a look at. All right, let's pull a couple cards and then we'll see what we get. Okay. So today, or at least for you, because I change depending on who I'm reading for, this is the Elemental Oracle is the deck that I'm using. Okay, in the past position, we have the Marine Life card. That says richness. It's card number 32, and it's full of richness and full of marine life. I just love this card. I don't know if you see that. It's card number 32. 3 + 2 is a 5. 5 for me is about change, new direction. However, 5 for me is also about middle of the cycle. So it's kind of like, you're kind of in the middle of things, right? Maybe you're in the middle of the project. Maybe the project is slowly wrapping up soon, but you're just really in the middle. Could be that you're also a little bit in limbo. So you're kind of like waiting for new information, just kind of going through the motions a little bit. When I get a 5 as well, 5 for me is always a reminder about getting our foundations right. So just checking in with ourselves, checking in with our exercise, checking in with our amount of sleep, checking in with, sorry, when I'm connecting, there's like a lot of like throat stuff. So I don't know if there's a communication thing going on or something like that with the family right now or with yourself. But when we bring it back to the 5, it's about that foundation. It's about making sure that we're doing things to really support ourselves. So it's self-care, taking time to be in nature, fresh air, all that kind of stuff to really support ourselves and help ourselves. Now, with this card, this is the Marine Life. So because there's a lot of marine elements, there's also the water elements. Water for me is all about emotion. It's also a lot about intuition. We also see this woman here, and she's kind of like almost in a contemplation, like she's looking at all of the richness and all of the goodness in her life. So it's a big part as well of reflection. I don't know if you were listening off the top, but I was talking a lot about how, basically the sum of everything we've been doing up till now has given us what we've got. I feel like for you, you're very grateful. You're very aware of all of the things that are around you. You're very aware of your basically all of the amazingness that you have in your life. And so I really love that. And I really want you to continue to do that, continue to be appreciating that like you already are. So this is really saying that, you're just surrounded by all of this bounty, all of this good. And I think sometimes you are really aware that you're very lucky in that way. So this is just acknowledging that. When we bring it to the present card is the home card, and it's Earth here. And we can see this woman is really taking time to be with herself. It's a lot about that self-care. So, we were talking earlier about the digestion. It's funny. She's got like fruits and vegetables and things like that in her headpiece here. So it's a lot about coming back to the basics and nurturing ourselves. This is card number 15. 1 + 5 is 6. 6 is all about seeing things clearly. It's also about family. It's also about love. For me, 6 is always a lot about intuition, getting clear on the things that we're looking for, that are important to us, and really paying attention to our own inner guidance. When we see this card here as well, it's all about Earth. So that's for me, whenever I see Earth, it's like resources, material kind of life, could be a lot about work as well. But because of this card and the elements within this card, it's a lot about self-care, nurturing, coming back to where you are, being where you are, grounded, being present. So that's a lot about where your power is. It's about really centering. Although with your energy, I feel like you're already a centered, grounded person. So this is really just supporting that, but supporting it in terms of like giving yourself back, that nurturing and that self-awareness. And like, yeah, they're talking about kind of like paying attention to the things that are right for you and then letting the things that aren't right for you anymore go. In the future, we have the equator card. This is to make equal. This is a number 5. Again, another 5 is about change. It's also about building that strong foundation. We've got the equator card here, and we've got like this woman, and she's kind of pointing in another direction, in one direction, and then the other woman is really contemplating. So this, for me, it says to make equal. This card is a lot about balance. It's about giving and receiving. It's also about remembering that there are other directions that you could go in than the ones that you've maybe explored. So this is a lot about tapping into the things that are important to you, your values, where you want to go, and then looking at the possibilities in front of you. It's also talking about the balance of things. So to make equal, it's almost like you can't take all the time, you can't give all the time. It's really a balance. So if you have been giving a lot, be okay with receiving. If you've been receiving a lot, maybe do some giving as well, to really kind of almost like that full circle thing. So that's what that card's talking about. In the position card that's really like overarching everything, this is card number 44. 44 for me is like a master number. It connects me to angels, so angelic guidance. But it's also a 4 for me is a lot about goal setting and like being clear on where we want to go and then putting the steps in place to get there. Because it's master number of 44, it's also a lot about strength. It's about courage. It's about moving forward. So I feel like for you, it's a lot about being really clear about where it is you want to go and then the steps that you need to take to achieve those particular goals. That card is also talking about the connection, and it's talking about the connection around all things. So it's about being aware of like the circle of life, you know, like the Lion King song. I really want to sing that song, The Circle of Life. So that's this card here. And then finally, the card that surrounds it all, that everything sits on. It's kind of like the card that the grounding card, the anchor card. This is card number 39, and this is the groundedness gravity card. So this is a lot about you being, you know how I was talking about earlier, how you are grounded. This is really a lot about that. It's about you being where you are, but also allowing yourself to dream. So we can see this woman, and she's sitting on this globe here. We can see some butterflies kind of pulling her and going, hey, let's look at things from a new perspective. So sometimes maybe if you're a little bit grounded and you're looking for some action, you can light some candles or have a bit of fire energy to really help you sort of get going if you find that you might be struggling with that. So yes, and 4 is your favorite number. That's very cool. So that's your reading. Oh, I think you said you have a busy life and you work in seasons now. Good. It's time to focus on me and also get time to see where I take things in business. Yeah, that's fantastic. So just being really clear about where you want to go and grow. I did a business workshop last week, and that was one of the things, you know, they said, what do you want your 5-year plan? And what I think is really cool is when we allow ourselves to dream big, we also allow ourselves to get clear on what it is we want. And then we can always change our mind if they no longer align with us. So you just seem really grounded. Everything just seems like you're really ticking along. There's a lot of gratitude and a lot of richness and abundance around you. And I love that you talked about working in seasons. You would maybe understand a lot about cycles, because when we're in a winter, it's a lot about hibernation, taking time out. When we're in summer, it's a lot about reaping the fruits of our labor and enjoying all of that abundance. And then the seasons, of course, in between. Okay, well, thank you for letting me read for you. And thank you to your loved ones as well in spirit. Thank you. All right. I will say as well that if you are a spiritual entrepreneur, I have a fantastic program. It's called Enlightened Efficiency. And basically what it is, it's like 12 group coaching sessions with me. You get 1 a month for a year. You get access to 2 incredibly powerful time management courses, all about powerful productivity. I teach you how to work with AI, prioritize your tasks, automate and delegate certain things. And it's a really powerful program. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about that, I'll put a link for you here. Essentially what you do is you get to work with me 1 time a month in a group setting. If you can't make it live, you can submit your questions in advance, all about productivity, if you've got business questions and things like that, and I'll answer them on the call, and then you get access to them. So all of the details are there in the comments. I've sent the link through. All right, let me see who we've got next. Thank you so much for all of the comments. I can see a couple of you interested in that program. So all the links are there, but also if you look at the post, it should say Enlightened Efficiency and then a link for that. But just send me a DM if you can't see it for whatever reason. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and read for Dimity Williams. All right, let's see what we get here. Just going to look, listen, and feel, connect with your energy. If you want to let me know, Dimity, if you are here, Dimity, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. I'm just going to have a quick drink of water. I'm just looking, listening, and feeling. I feel like I have an older woman here in spirit. Let me just tell you a little bit about what she looks like. She's quite tall, and I feel like she's very strict, almost like I want to say that she's like a teacher. She really likes things done her way. I feel like she's using her hands a lot, like she wants to demonstrate things. She's got glasses as well. She's got short hair. I would say she's an older woman. I would say that her hair is like sort of gray, white. Ma'am, can I just get you to stand? I would put her on your father's side of the family. That's really, really where she sits for me. So it could be your father's mother or maybe a generation up. I'd probably put her more around the father's mother kind of an angle though. For me, it's really funny. I really want to talk like this with my hands and be very strict. She's very prim and proper. So like really well put together, really takes care of herself. She seems to me as somebody who like wouldn't leave the house without making sure that things were in order, likes order, likes structure. I'm just seeing if I can get a little bit more information while I connect with her. I'm just looking, listening, and feeling here. Just going to see Dimity. Oh, you are here. Okay, so does you just said, yes, I'm here, and yes, you are correct. So would that mean that you're connecting with this woman? If you can let me know if that's connects with you. I want to talk about flowers as well. I want to talk about daisies. So sometimes when I get a flower, daisy, it could be the name of someone. It could also be a reference to the flower. I had flowers come through before for someone who worked with flowers. They were a horticulturist. So whether or not that's here, but I actually like drew a daisy on my paper, which I don't normally draw a daisy. So that's a really interesting thing. So I just want to bring that up. I'm just going to see as well. This woman also really liked tea. So there was like a tea reference. I don't know if there's like a teapot that she's left or like some kind of china set, but I feel like there's like a tea set, a china set that may be still here that somebody has, but she's definitely making a reference to tea. Again, proper. I feel like she's very proper, likes things done a certain way. I almost want to talk about some kind of flower pattern or a pattern on the tea set. So it could be that there's the daisy reference there. So that's coming through as well. Okay, so you're saying, yes, that's your grandmother. Okay, wonderful. Yes, I like her a lot. Can you tell me too whether or not she was a school teacher or where the strictness is coming in? I feel like she was really in charge of something like education, or I feel like she was well read. She knew stuff. She was very intelligent, and she had an opinion on everything. But I feel like unlike some people who have opinions, she actually has opinions that were based in fact, like she knows what she's talking about. She seems to me like she would be quite educated. All right. I'm going to pull a couple cards for you now as well. Let's see what we get here. I pulled those differently than I normally do. That's funny. Okay. So for you in the past, we have the fluidity and we have the outer core card, and we have a woman that's walking in the water here, and she's she's naked, which means that she's, you know, vulnerable, but she's also maybe stepping into a new way of being, like shedding her skin. This is also card number 12. 1 + 2 is a 3. 3 is about pregnancy. It could also be about creativity. I feel like for you, the word that they're giving for me is like emergence, because there's also water element coming through here. That's a lot about intuition and also about emotion. Oh, you said about your grandmother here. She was a very lovely lady, very strong-willed woman, very strict and organized, and very well known and liked. Yes, I'm not surprised by that at all. Very good. Cool. Okay, so back to your reading. Thank you for giving me that validation as well. I really appreciate that. I need that validation when I'm reading so that I know if I'm on track or I have to pivot or something like that. So I appreciate your time. Okay. So where were we? In the past position for you, I feel like for you, it's an emergence coming out into maybe a new way of being. So it could be that you're looking at things from a different point of view. I also feel like you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And I feel like you're shedding an old skin, like you're kind of like stepping into almost like a new reborn, almost like you've been reborn in a way. So you're kind of looking at things from a different point of view. I don't know whether or not you've had an experience lately that's really opened up your mind a little bit. I do want to talk about, I don't know if anyone's mentioned this to you before, but like starseed energy for you as well. I feel like there's a definite connection to the star seeds. So there's definitely something going on with that. I want to talk to you. I want to connect you with star seeds that are like silver and sparkle light energy. There's something really galactic and beautiful about the being that I'm got here. I feel like this is really connecting to you. So it might make sense for you. Okay, when we've got the inner core card at the present moment, we've got the solidity card, but we also have like an expansion again, like I keep wanting to say the word emergence for you. So I don't know if you've been saying emergence lately, but there's definitely something that's going on in terms of you really stepping into who you truly are now. I feel like you're on the path and you're going, things are working out for me because I've really been listening and I'm really going where I need to go. This card for you here is card number 18. 1 + 8 is a 9. 9 is the end of a cycle. So when we get to an end of a cycle, we also get into the beginning of a cycle. This is also about understanding and looking at the different facets of ourselves. It's funny, we've got the fluidity of the last one, which is like about fluid momentum and change. And then we've got this one here, which is like two faces. And then there's an expansion in the middle as well. When we get that dove of peace, I almost feel like it's like maybe you've been battling with parts of yourself and you're kind of like bringing them together. And now you're like, okay, I'm good to move on now. I understand a little bit about my different sides. Could also be almost like a yin and a yang balance. Yin is a lot about receiving and that peaceful kind of more emotional feminine energy. And then the yang is almost like the more out there, putting steps forward, action-based masculine energy. So I feel like it's also a combination of the two really coming together and again, really stepping into your power for yourself. When we look at the future card, we've got bravery and we've got the oceans card. And we can see that this woman is almost like doing a little bit of a balancing act. So it's kind of like she's stepping forward and ready to move ahead. But there's a little bit of bravery and courage that's still coming with that. We can see that there's an earth element card, so it's important to remember to keep yourself grounded. But because of the water element card as well, that brings in the intuition and the emotions. So it's a lot about understanding how to balance those things together. What's really good is that when we're really emotional, when we have a little bit of that earth to kind of ground us, it allows us to kind of get a little bit out of our own way. Because sometimes when we're really emotional, we can distort things, right? Kind of gets diluted, confused sort of. So when we can ground ourselves and be here in the now moment, we can make more decisions that are going to be coming from a place of more like power, I guess you could say. In the card that's overarching everything, this is the snow card and this is the silence card. So it's also card number 34. 3 + 4 is a 7. 7 is divine purpose, connection with divine purpose. We talked already about the starseed energy as well that I feel you're connected to. But because it's the snow card, snow is also about hibernation. It's about winter. It's about reflection. So Sometimes what we need to do before we're going to move forward, we need to take a little bit of time to kind of be where we are, understand the things that are important, redirect our energy, and also recuperate. So it could be maybe taking some naps, doing some reading, really hibernating a little bit, filling up your tank before you move forward for the next part of the journey. The card that's really tying everything together as well is the growth card. And it says plants on it. And this is card number 19. 1 plus 9 is a 10. 1 plus 0 is a 1. 1 is a new beginning, new direction. So this is really kind of a whole reading that's really a lot about you moving forward in a new direction with that emergence. It's just also just remembering to remind yourself to be grounded, to be here in the now, go out and walk around in nature, breathe in some of that fresh air, be where you are. They want to talk about like being where you're planted, almost growing where you're planted. Thank you. Growing where you're planted. So it's just about remembering that the present moment is your now powerful moment for you to make decisions to take you where you want to go. So I hope that you found that helpful. I also want to thank your grandmother. Thank you for being here. And I hope that you found that was helpful for you. You said, you recently hit rock bottom, which opened up your eyes a lot. You understand this completely. Okay, good. I hope that you, I hope you're okay now. One of the things I know is that when we go through difficult times, sometimes it opens up a doorway, a new way of looking at the world. I'm going to put a link for you here. Let me just bring it up. I have a podcast called the Afterlight Podcast, and I interviewed a woman. I'm just bringing this up, Jennifer Rose. And we did a whole episode that was all about the dark night of the soul. And it was really a powerful episode because it was talking about how sometimes when we go through difficult situations, difficult things, this is a link on Amazon. I'll put a link for it there for you. That's just the one that came up when I searched. But when we go through difficult things, what sometimes happens, I think that link might have gotten broken off. Anyway, hopefully just find the Facebook one. It should be there. I think the YouTube one got cut off. It leads to breakthrough. It leads to perspective. It leads us to, resilience in ourselves that we never knew we had. So I'm really happy that that makes sense for you. And I'm sending you a lot of support as well for that. So thank you for sharing. You're welcome. All right. So if you have been watching my show before, then you would know that I love to do the 1, 2, 3 card readings. So I really want to try to serve everybody as best as I can on these calls. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull let's just work with the unicorns today. I just interviewed someone on my show the other day, and that episode goes live in a month or two. And it's all about unicorns and Pegasus. And it's so cool. I love it. So let's do unicorn card here. So all you need to do is think of a question, think of something that you're looking for some guidance and support on. Card number 1, card number 2, card number 3. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for you as well. So just let me know card number 1, card number 2, card number 3. And let's see what we can get for you. All right. So for my people, card number 1, just going to scroll down here and see y'all. Thank you for commenting and being here. Okay. Card number 1. This is really interesting. This is a card that's all about grandparents. So this is a card about connection with your grandparents. So one of these things about our, what this is telling me, so I don't know how to line it up there for you, is that, it's basically saying that there's a connection with your grandparents. So even if your grandparents are in spirit, you can talk to them. Like my grandfather, he helps me with my readings. You can also connect with them when you do meditation. You can ask to connect with them. You can also connect with them in your dreams. One of the things that this card is also talking about, it's also about talking about your ancestry, and that there may be clues for yourself within your ancestry. So one of the things we sometimes forget is that we have ancestry and lineage that can really support us in our life right now. And so maybe there's something in your life, in your ancestry, that you haven't been tapping into. Maybe the people in your family have always been very good bakers, and it's not something that you've really explored much yourself, or painters or writers or athletes. Maybe there's been some kind of a I don't know, like a cycle that's been running through all the ancestry, and there's an opportunity to clear that. And you can do that a lot through meditation or working with healers that specialize in this. So this is a lot about connecting with your grandparents, but we can't talk about connecting with your grandparents without also acknowledging that sometimes it's also about looking back and looking at the history in our lineage. I know that for me, for my grandparents, that there's a lot of cool stuff that I can tap into there, even in the work that I'm doing today now that I haven't really spent much time on. So being intentional about connecting with our grandparents in our meditation and their dreams, again, can help you to bring answers as well. You can also look at doing some automatic writing. So on my podcast, the Afterlight podcast, let me just bring up a episode for you. Automatic writing. There's an episode that can actually teach you how to do automatic writing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send you that link now. So if you are interested in learning how to automatic write, this is a teaching from Katie Beecher. I'll just go automatic writing technique. And I'll put a link for you there. That's actually how I started out with a lot of my channeling, is I would actually do automatic writing. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't need to write anything down because I can just receive and speak. And that's a big part about how I got started. So if you're looking for that, that's a good tip for you. Okay, my people, number 2, this is a love from your parents card. So it says, no matter what, your mother and father love you as much as they can. So I know this could be a little bit of a triggering card, potentially, depending on your situation. But what's really important to remember is that we're all doing the best we can with what we've got, right? And so this card is just talking about the love from your parents. It could also be that if your parents are in spirit and they forced you to choose number 2 just now, that they're letting you know how loved you are and how supported you are. One of the things that I always love to do is I always like to encourage people to kind of remember that, you know, we're all doing the best that we can. And if you find that there's maybe some resentments or some issues there with your parents, there's a really powerful technique called the Ho'oponopono technique. It's a forgiveness technique. It's essentially where you go through and you would think of a situation or the person, and you would go think of it, and then you would go, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, and I love you. And I feel that personally, that when we can learn to forgive situations that have affected us in the past, that may still be affecting us now, when we can look at bringing in that forgiveness, we can look at bringing in that compassion and that love. And when we can do that, we can really start to be able to move ourselves forward. So again, if that's triggering for you at all, I really would encourage you to go and speak with somebody who specializes in that kind of work, that there's a lot of support for you. Okay. People number 3. Wow. This is funny. It's also forgiveness card. So these cards are deep today. So this is a card that's all about forgiveness. It says it's time to let go of anger or blame. One of the things I think that we sometimes forget as well is when we have situations that happen in our lives, that sometimes we go, oh, maybe I'm actually okay with that situation now. Like I've been able to move on from it. But sometimes we have a lingering thing that's going on within ourselves that we actually need to forgive ourselves for the roles that we played. So again, bringing it back to that Ho'oponopono technique, that's a really powerful technique to help you with the forgiveness. I'm also going to send you a link now because I interviewed Kale about forgiveness, and I'm going to link you to a episode on that if I can bring it up. Yeah, here we go. So there's a couple, you know what, I'm just going to link you. Okay, so here is a powerful exercise on releasing anger, and you may find that this is really helpful. So I'm just going to say releasing anger episode. I'm going to link to it there for you. And at the in the show notes of that episode as well, there's a link to the full-length episode if you want to listen to that. Kale's story is so fantastic. He's a really, really successful, popular medium here based in Australia. He's very well known on TikTok. And I learned a lot from that show with him, including automatic writing, actually. He taught me that technique when I read his book. So those are my 1, 2, 3 card readings. Let me know whether or not they resonated with you. I hope that you found them helpful. I'm actually going to wrap up today because I have a couple things that I've got to get done before the sun goes down. But I really wanted to make sure that I popped on here for you today and gave you some value. Thank you so much for being here. If I haven't already mentioned it to you, if you've already heard it, I have just launched like a new program. It's called Enlightened Efficiency, and it's for spiritual entrepreneurs. So if you're looking for somebody to assist you with business, with productivity, with becoming more efficient so you can better serve the world, this program essentially allows you to have 12 catch-ups with me. It's a group coaching, 1 session a month, where I literally jump on like this, but we have a conversation about productivity, efficiency, business challenges that may be coming up. There's also 2 courses that teach you about AI, as well as delegating and automating your tasks so that you really can become the more efficient version of yourself to allow you to create a bigger impact in the world. One of the things that I know for sure is that we are all here following our purpose. Remember, the journey ahead is up for us to shape. And I just really don't want something like time management, productivity to get in the way of you being able to do what you came here to do. So if you're wondering whether or not that's for you, feel free to send me a DM, but all the emails, all the information can be found within the comments section as well. And Wendy, you said that resonates. That's fantastic. And Lucille said, number 3, worked with you and you still need help. I hope that the forgiveness technique there with Kale in that episode will help you as well, Lucille, and the Ho'oponopono technique will also assist you. And, remember, you guys, like there's a lot of people around us that can give us the support we want or that we need, therapists and experts in these areas as well. Also really good books, podcasts, things like that. So I'm sending you a lot of love and a lot of support. And just remember to invite your spirit guides in to assist you along your journey. Thank you so much for watching today. Take care. This episode has been brought to you by me and my business, Lauren Grace Inspirations. I am a channel of the light and work with spirit guides, angels, the higher self, and past over loved ones to provide you with support, clarity, and encouragement. Using oracle cards, mediumship, and clairvoyance, my readings will leave you feeling comforted and empowered. I have various reading options available, ranging from 30-minute readings to 60-minute readings to group sessions. I also work with professionals to help them gain clarity in business and life purpose. To book a reading with me, simply head to laurengraceinspirations.com.